So I am Lynn Garrick, and I'm talking fast, so bear with me. I am talking about traditional residential group homes. So this is what this looks like. Many of you might have family members in traditional group homes. Many of you might be scared of traditional group homes. They're homes just like you and I live in. Every resident will have their own locked bedroom, a storage area, living space. It's a home, just like you and I have, right? They either have their own bathroom or they share a bathroom. They live in a residential area just like we do. This is one of our residents, their bedroom. They get to decorate it however they want. Hers is very clean. You know, my room doesn't look like that, but it's great, okay? They have a key where they can lock their belongings. It's really important for people to be able to have security, and that includes their own things, okay? We like to support people throughout the age continuum, whether that be through childhood all the way through a natural end of life. We help them to grow old by modifying homes, okay? So you see like grab bars, stair chairs, ramps, there's Hoyer lifts, things like that. The key for us in a traditional residential program, food security, that might look like locked kitchens. We have open floor plans, you know, locked cupboards, things like that. We work with dietitians to make sure that they have pre-planned nutritious meals. We help them with their exercise, 30 minutes to an hour a day, whatever that looks like for them. We work with fitness specialists. Sometimes we have alarms located on the windows, on the doors, because sometimes some of our folks like to elope, not go get married, but run away, okay? Our staffing, right? Our staffing is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's structure, okay? A lot of our folks, they thrive in structure. So it's structured, it's planned, they know what to have. Our staff are trained in behavior management and de-escalation techniques. Most residential homes, staffing of at least 2 to 4, okay? And we always try a person-centered approach. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You might not need what you need, I'm different. We meet people where they're at and we help them achieve their goals. This is my son at a Twins game. We don't want to isolate them from others, and community engagement is not an issue. They're doing all sorts of things. You name it, they're doing it, and we're helping them do that and create community engagement. If they want to go to a bar, let's go to the bar. Let's shoot pool at the local pool hall. Let's do all of those things and build relationships outside of your own little house. So there is a sense of community within the home, and community involvement is a priority. We also have chickens now at one of our group homes, so it's great. And for a lot of folks, it's affordable. A lot of our individuals are on Medicaid, and some in the United States we have waivers pay for funding. Okay, so it's little to no cost to families, and most of our individuals have well-paying jobs and a lot of disposable income. One of our folks just went on a cruise to Hawaii with one of us staff members. So anyway, family involvement, involving families is a priority. They are welcomed at any time. We're always, that's my son in the middle. Yeah, we invite them to any and all of our group activities. They can come in whenever, pop in, right? That's why I'm the nurse at these group homes, because I wanted to be that parent that creeped in to make sure my son was being taken care of, and would do a great job. We can facilitate home visits, meal planning. If meal planning when they go home is an issue, we'll pack lunches for you. We like to partner with families, and that's it for me. Latham.
Hi, my name is Patrice Carroll. I'm the Director of PWS Services at Latham Centers. Latham Centers has an adult group home, adult program similar to what Lynn just referred to, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Latham's children's program. Latham Centers has a children's program at campus with 46 students. 40 of them are diagnosed with PWS. We have 7 classrooms, including transitional classrooms for students over 18. What's really unique about the children's program is that most students come to us having never been a part of a real community. So they're almost always the only student in their school that has PWS. They typically feel pretty isolated, and they're being asked to fit into a program that wasn't designed for them. So Latham's children's program is designed for students with PWS. So all of our policies, all of our trainings, everything is designed for the student with PWS, so it's completely different from the experience that they've had in the past. And one of the first things that families say to us after their child comes is, this is the first time in their life that they've had friends, real friends. And I think more than anything else that we do, we have nursing services and clinical services, and we have a residential program, and all of those things together. More important than everything I just listed is these students feel like they belong, like they're just one of the other kids. They're not the odd man out. They're not the kid in school that has to not come in because there's a Christmas party, or the other kids can't bring cupcakes on their birthdays. They are one of just any other kid in the school, and they've never had that experience before. And I think that's what makes it so successful, is that everything we do is designed for the student with PWS. So, yeah.
So how do I get to where I'm going? A question I've asked all my life.
This thing is
Which one? I don't have my glasses on. I can't
right
see.
here. Yeah.
I'm going to have to hire you. My staff doesn't appreciate my humor as much as you do. Thank you. I'm Lee Chamberlain, and I also work with Latham. And I want to thank Patrice for allowing me to come today. She's a hard act to follow. I am the Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer at Latham. And I'm going to talk to you about a program that we now have at Latham Centers, which started off as a pilot and that we're continuing to develop, which is sort of a new and innovative approach. And I think frequently I come and I talk about children's programs and so forth, but I'm proud to be standing here today talking about this particular program because we also have managed to get it approved through home and community-based waiver services. So that means that it's available across the country if you're able to make it through the paperwork process, but we probably can help you do that as well. So I'm going to talk about smart homes today. The homes aren't particularly smart in and of themselves, but there are some really cool, smart people working on them and working within them. And what we do is we use assistive technology as well as common everyday technology that you may have in your own homes in order to provide support and services to the individuals living in these homes and living in their apartments and living alone or with others, small group homes, and vocational services. And almost anywhere these services could be provided. In order to do this, what we do is we complete an assessment on each individual, which basically looks at what is the individual's hopes and what are their dreams, what are their goals, what are their strengths, what areas do they need further assistance in. And we provide training to either the staff that are working with them or the staff that are in the home, and we purchase the equipment that they're going to be used based on the individual's needs. We provide remote services as well, and remote services are basically, if you looked at it as sort of in the olden days, when we watched the commercials, Help I've Fallen, I Can't Get Up, they're similar to that. Or ADT, where the alarm goes off and tells you the water heater or something's gone wrong. Most of the remote services are done through an iPad or a tablet of some sort, and people have a certain number of hours a day that they receive these remote services, and they also can receive the remote services on demand. Now, what is a remote service? That's a staff person that is available 24/7 to be able to provide support to the individual, to provide help, to provide access to the community and help them negotiate through the community, whether it's in vocational services, at a doctor's appointment, or on public transportation, whatever it is that this person needs. And what we've also found is frequently the individuals may just call just to talk, just to reach out. We train all of the people on the remote service program and how in PWS and how to best service individuals with PWS and respond, how to respond to crises, how to respond to behaviors. What we do find through remote services, some of the behaviors decrease because they're not in a conflict with somebody else living in the home. They're not getting in power struggles with staff, and they are able to have more independence, yet have somebody basically on call. We provide it in independent living programs, we provide it in shared living programs, in-home supports, and over the past 6 months, we just piloted in a group home with 5 other individuals. We service about 46 individuals through our in-home support program and 5 in our group home, and hope to expand on that. So after trying out our small group homes, we've now established it also in our vocational programs, which is even differently cool, if I might say. What we do we are able to provide job support and job training virtually, and are working with a company to develop basically what it is anybody familiar with Oculus and the metaverse and all of that? Okay. This is a pair of glasses that the individual can see and be trained on doing their job, how to do the job, and it's also the support person can basically talk to them through an earplug or earphone. One of the things we find in vocational services is frequently we may hear from the employer that there are issues at the site, and when we get there, of course, there are no issues, and we can actually see things happening and see the escalations, see what's happening, see what's gone wrong, see what has happened in the course of maybe a typical employer with typical staff and with our particular individuals. So we're finding that that's really working well. We're working with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to develop a refrigerator that is food secure, and there are typical scales that you can put on the floor, just like scales that we could use in our own homes that will Bluetooth weights and things like that. We can also build it into floors. There's nothing worse than walking into a group home from my perspective. I'm a former DCF person, and seeing locks and things like that, refrigerators, locks on cabinets and things like that. So our goal is to get rid of all that stuff, and there are fobs, cabinets that automatically close, refrigerators that know when somebody's approaching the refrigerator or how long the refrigerator's been open and so forth. So we have Ring doorbells, we have Google, we have Alexa, we have all of that stuff too. And believe me, all of that stuff provides some really good support for individuals. Medication management, and one of the things that we do is, in addition to the typical medication dispenser, what we also have is the ability to set up virtual, so that a lot of people don't want the whole world, especially in a group home, knowing that they're going to be receiving medication. They get notified through Google, and they are able to come out and do that. Goal is to enhance independence, develop skills. We help them with meal support. If needed, they have GPSs, and ADL. My new cool toy that I'm doing is we have mirrors in bathrooms, and we can have mirrors in houses, and we upload on the mirror cameras. So if you look in the mirror, you can see like a TV, and people can be trained and supported on their ADL skills, how to shave. Did you remember to do this? Did you remember to do this? Did you remember to shampoo, rinse shampoo? Because that's what the directions on the bottle say. And there's no struggle with staff, and they're able to do it, and it's a touch screen. What I did was I included a map here of the states that have various programs going on within their states that you'd be able to reach out to, and depending upon what state. It is a Medicaid-funded program. You will eventually be able to access it, and I cannot tell you how thrilled it is to finally stand up and be able to say that, coming from Massachusetts, that you can have the same thing people in Massachusetts have. Any questions? Go to our table, get our cards, and we'll respond quickly. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Rob Lutz. I have a 23-year-old daughter, Isabel, with Prader-Willi syndrome. And about 5 years ago, when she was 17 or 18, we realized that this key decision was coming up, right? So when you exit the school systems, which is usually, in my experience, public schools 21, sort of everything falls off, right? All your services from the schools end, and it's now what, right? So I think what I feel like this is about is for a lot of those people who are facing those decisions, what does that now what look like, right? What's going to happen? And that can come later, it can come as you get older, but certainly that's the first point, and that's where we were facing this question: what do we want for our daughter, post-school? And so, if you look at the extremes, in my mind, there's the stay-at-home for a while extreme and figure out how to provide services from the home on one extreme. The other extreme, in my mind, was a group home or a very highly regulated environment. And then there's stuff in between, and that's what we're talking about. Obviously, this smart homes is in between. And I look at what we're doing, chose to do with Isabel as an in-between. And so as we're looking at that, sort of the opportunities to be independent and be out of the home, to have broader life experiences and to be with peers is one advantage of leaving the home. But there are challenges. There's tough choices, right? There's the food security issue. How do you, get help? How do you maintain that? What about caregiving? What does it cost? How do you transport individuals, that don't drive? How do you deal with that? What about, how do they get community? Are they isolated? Are they less isolated at home or away? How does that work? And how do you kind of manage the future? Because, we're all planning to outlive our children, so how does that look? So we were facing a whole range of those decisions, and it's a very individual choice, individual for the family, individual for your child. So there's no right answer, I don't think. And so I think, to me, this is all about presenting different options and how to think about them. So as we were investigating this, we looked at a lot of these options. We ran around the country to a few different places. And ultimately, we arrived at joining a community called Azul, which is outside of Phoenix, or in Phoenix, excuse me. It's about a 30-unit community. And there are about 5 or 6 individuals with Prader-Willi syndrome now living there. You can see a picture of what that looks like. There's 2 halves. This is one half where my daughter lives, made up of sort of these, multi, sort of condo-ish facilities. Each one's a 2 or 3 bedroom facility. You have to pay individually to buy the unit. We get support for her care through the state, so she's qualified in the state. Obviously, that's always a question, is how do you get that? That's a whole separate conversation, but everyone who's been through that laughs. It's not easy. But anyway, we've now gotten that, and so have the other members of the Prader-Willi community who are in Azul. There is a clubhouse in the middle of the facility with a pool. It's manned 24/7, so there's someone with cameras and sort of watch outs, and on occasion we've used them to run over to my daughter's house and help with the clogged toilet or help her with something, help her with the pizza that she ordered and had to be taken away from her, things of that nature. So those kind of things come up and the like, and so that clubhouse and that 24/7 support is helpful, but it also must accommodate everyone. So, you can't say, no, you can't have food in the clubhouse because there are other people without Prader-Willi syndrome living in this community. And so you can't dictate everything for Prader-Willi syndrome. Luckily, there's a critical mass there, so they understand, they're aware, and they get the idea. But anyway, that's just, obviously, again, this is part of the pros and cons of any different situation. So this is a look at inside a home for obviously before someone lives there, but certainly before my daughter's living there, because it's not quite so neat. But anyway, so again, as I talked about, this in my mind is a hybrid model, right? So it's not as much control as living at home, right? She's on her own at times. There's only so much we can do about how clean it is or how often she brushes her teeth or things of that nature. but there's more flexibility than other types of more rigid, regulated groups, like group homes to some extent. So we do control, for example, who our caregivers are, right? We contract with the agency to provide our caregivers, so we get to interview them. If they are not a good fit, we can fire them with working with the agency. We're not there's not a group of people, controlling, a larger group of people controlling whether there's a caregiver there or not. We have some ability to influence that quite directly. But that requires work. Now you have to be involved. You have to watch and monitor. We are responsible to some extent to interface with those caregivers and the agency and make sure it happens. It's not as hands-off as other types of environments. So again, it's a hybrid. It's not home. It's not highly maintained. It's on us to some extent, but we have a lot of control. So, that's the help. And it kind of same thing with socialization. There are other people there. She can socialize. It's not as well coordinated. When conflicts come up, we have to get involved to some extent and help to manage through that. So again, it's sort of this in between. Luckily but there is community there. It's not like, one model would be just, hey, buy a house or a home or an apartment for your child and set up care for them directly. But then there may be an apartment building with no other special needs individuals around. So then where do they go? How do they socialize? So this has, as I think my first slide said, there's probably 80-90% of the individual homes and units are with special needs individuals of various types. And so there is a sense of community. She goes to the clubhouse pretty much every evening and hangs out there for a couple hours and meets other people and does games or art or watches TV or falls asleep sometimes or whatever she does there. But she's able to feel like she's part of something as opposed to being either at home with old people like us or in a community setting that's not there's no other people with special needs to kind of be part of it with. So again, we felt that was kind of a nice mix for her in particular. And there she is. This is when she was moving in. And she's, I think ultimately it's been great for us. It's still a work in progress. I think these kind of hybrid models are still developing and figuring out how to do this. And, one thing we feel good about is that although it's not perfect, we are able to influence it. There are other people with the same goals in mind there. And so we're all trying to figure out how to navigate the world of making this a place that's great for our children, by working together to some extent. So for us, it's been a good balance. And if you're interested, talk to me or look it up online and find out more about it. That's it.
All right. My name's Scott Arant. I am Allie Arant's father and the lesser of the two parents that she has. So fortunately, she has her wonderful mother that has done a fantastic job with her. But my job now is to see where the years ahead are going to go. And so C15 Foundation is that. And I'll tell you quickly how it was born in my head. Our two sons go to Auburn University and we went down there, took them, set them up in their dormitory and all that, and it was an all-day affair, and Allie didn't have a good time. But when we were driving back, she said, where do I get to go to college? And where do I get my first apartment? And I thought to myself, she's really thinking about this stuff. And so I have to. It's where we are. And so she's 16. She's got 2 years left of high school. And as I ran this through my head and talked to my wife, Deb, about it, we really started to create something that we wanted to be significantly different than what's available today. And in Georgia, I'm sure there's some great models of group homes. I have not heard of them. I'm sure they're out there. But we got to thinking, she has been in 4 schools in Atlanta. She's always been the only I think somebody said that earlier, the only PWS student in that school. She's never been a part of a community that is like her, that shares likes and dislikes and challenges and whatnot. And we really wanted to create that next step for her that would give her that. So let me flip through here and just kind of bring this to life for you. I don't have a lot of time, but the mission of this is really to provide a meaningful and purpose-driven community for people with chromosome 15 disabilities. And I'll explain that in just a minute. By offering enriching activities and therapies in a single live, work, play educate, and research community, a single one. And that today has not been done. So the C15 Foundation, you've probably figured out, is chromosome 15. But when we thought about this, we thought this is going to be a big project, and we need to raise a lot of money to do it. And PWS is just so narrow, we would have a lot of people say, you know, I'd love to give you a bunch of money, but I really like when my money affects more people. So the C15 really covers so many things. I think most of us know there's a lot of things that happen at 15. I think there's 145 or 150 things. And so we broadened it to appeal to other folks. And ultimately, in time, this could become a C15 or a chromosome 15 specialty environment, although we have to start somewhere. And selfishly, we were going to start at Prader-Willi syndrome, and I'm happy about that. I don't need to tell you more than I've already told you. You guys know most of those things there, and the same here. I will say this about this slide. If any Georgia Bulldogs in here other than Gordon, all right, that's in here against my will, and I'd rather it not be in here, the Georgia part of it. Your daughters are beautiful, though. So I'm going to walk you through the concept. And keep in mind, this is just cracking out of the egg. We are in the fundraising mode of this project. But I'll walk you through here and what we're envisioning. I'm going to go backwards, by the way, from 6 to 1. So starting with the education component of it. These kids, our daughter will graduate in 2 years. She will get her high school certificate. She will not be at a 12th grade level. She will probably be at a 9th or a 10th or whatever it may be. But she needs to continue, as a lot of these young people do, they need to continue to learn. And when there's no learning opportunities post-high school, what happens? The brain just stops where it is. And I just can't accept that that's just all the learning she'll ever get. So we want to have a high school on this property that will be PWS specific. Again, she's been the only student in all of her schools that has PWS. And so having a school that is specifically designed for day in and day out, and Patrice touched on this, of just PWS provides them so much opportunity, so much more opportunity than I think they get in schools that they're the only ones there. But more importantly than the high school component is, for me, the post-high school component. Because again, I don't think learning should stop when she graduates from high school. So providing education beyond, say, math and science. Maybe you're talking about doing film production or basket weaving or making a product that you can sell and create an entrepreneurial little business online. But learning other things post-high school, I think, is critically important to continue to exercise and grow the mind. It doesn't have to be the traditional college curriculum. In fact, it won't be anywhere close to it. But it does occupy, at least in our heads, half of the day each day in terms of learning, because there's other things that we'll get to in a minute that will take up the rest of the day. But again, I just think it's critical that education be a part of their life for maybe the next 10 years or 15 years or what have you, but they just can't stop. If I had stopped after high school, I wouldn't be standing here today, that's for sure. Moving on from that, the village housing. The idea here is that we would create three individual units that house 8 individuals apiece. And the reason for that is in Georgia, and I think probably from a federal level, you can't have more than so many disabled people living under one single roof. There's a gentleman, a family in Atlanta that started something called Champion's Place. Their son is in a wheelchair. I believe he's a paraplegic with a lot of other challenges. And they did this in Roswell, Georgia, and it is absolutely phenomenal. What they did, though, is they built pods, and they have about 30 individuals living there, all within wheelchairs. And then they have common space in the middle that they can come to and hang out and do their thing, but then they can go back to their rooms and have their privacy. I think you touched on that too. Have their privacy and their things in there, and that is their world. Same concept here. And so we would build pods with a common area in between that people could go to when they choose to. Important to note, no kitchens. These would just be bedroom, bathroom, private bathroom, and a little sitting area. And if you want to come out and go into the common area where you can watch movies and play games and what have you with the rest of the community members, you can. Or you can go in your room, close the door, and have all the privacy that you want. I'm a big believer, and I guess most of you guys are too, that is critically important. I mean, my sons, when they went to college, that was the one thing they really thought was amazing. Oh my gosh, mom and dad aren't here to tell me what to do. This is a little different. Somebody's going to have to tell her to make her bed. But you get the point. It is, when you have that, you just go to a different place in life. And that's what we want to try to create. Next to that is a secure or independent dining hall. This will be obviously a highly secure facility. It'll serve 3 meals a day, nothing more, nothing less. And in between those meals, you can't get in. The doors are locked. And Allie loves when we lock everything down and she can focus on other things. And when she can do that, she's a whole different person. But when she knows the opportunity's there, she knows the opportunity's there. So this is, I think, a critical component of it. Moving on around the campus from there, activity center, got to have that. If our thinking right now, and there's so many questions to be answered with this project, but our thinking right now is if you live here on campus, then you're required to go to the activity center at least for an hour a day. And we don't have to lift weights and do push-ups and all that. You need to walk around the track or swim, and Allie loves to swim, or do the yoga thing and whatnot, but something to be active and stay moving. And I think if it was, if we had some of that closer to us that really could fit her, other than walking to the stop sign, which she hates to do, then she might be more active, and she needs to be for sure. But you get the point there. It's all low tone type of exercise. Around from that is the sustainable farm. We will grow fruits and vegetables here, lots of it, because everything that's grown here will be served here. All right, and so this will provide great opportunities for work on the campus. And it will also have the farm animals. Yes, we'll have some dogs for sure, maybe a potbelly pig, I don't know. But they love animals. My daughter absolutely loves them, so we will make sure that's a part of it. We will have the chickens. I think you mentioned chickens earlier. We have chickens now, and Allie loves them. So we'll harvest those eggs. From there, and this is really kind of the cherry on top, and this is still in the works, but we've had a lot of conversations with a major medical university. I'm not allowed to say the name, but you guys know where I'm from. You can figure it out. It's really a two-part thing. They want to get involved from a clinical standpoint and doing, kind of traditional clinical PWS work, but more importantly, they want to get involved from a research standpoint. And so they are working with the Foundation for Prader-Willi Research right now to develop a program and really get money from them to hire on a specific or a exclusive scientist for PWS to work under their current organoid scientist, which is Steve Sloan. And that's an amazing category of science, and really is not being, a ton is not being done in PWS with organoids. So we're excited about it, I'm excited about it, and I think FPWR will get excited about having the scientists on board and pursuing a lot of their goals as well. But having them involved, I think, is critical because we get to tap into other things that they also do. They also have nutritionists. They also have behavior folks. They've got all those resources, and they've got a ton that can actually participate in this and do a lot of, not studies, but they are going through the schooling of this, and what a great place to get some real world, practical daily use out of it. I'm not sure how to phrase that. But nonetheless, this will come together as a separate entity than the entity that is doing the live, work, play, educate. And it just needs to be that way because of billing issues and so forth. So in the end, I don't know how that topic name got there. This was maybe an old copy. In the end, our goal is to have a high quality, safe campus that provides purpose and meaning. That is, I think, so critical. A lot of group homes that a lot of people that have their family members in group homes tell me there's not a lot of substance there. And so we want to have that here so that it is a community like no other, where it really is their world, and there's people that get them there more so than anything they've ever seen. Obviously, educating, as I pointed out, it's just got to happen that way. We've got to continue to educate them to have brighter minds. And then with the research, developing great and grand therapies, really for two things. And I think working with the university, we can really help shape them in their research to do two things. And this is really kind of what I'm pushing for. And that is behavior and hyperphagia. Okay, we're doing a lot of other stuff around the country and around the world in other areas, but I want them to focus on those two things, and I think we can get them to do that. So that's the C15 Foundation. You can go to c15foundation.org, and you'll see pretty much the same thing that you saw here, but you're welcome to do that. If you have any questions, my email is there, my cell phone is there, and if you happen to know of anybody that just has so much money it's weighing them down in life, please have them call me because I'd love to take it off their hands. Thank you.
Our last individual is Emily, and she joins us from Minnesota. This is her talk.
Okay, do you want to introduce yourself?
It's Emily.
Okay, and where do you live?
Sterling Ponds, Wagner Way.
And is that an apartment?
Apartment,
An apartment
yes.
complex, perfect.
It's a green Camry. 15316. That's the numbers on the Camry. The green one.
Perfect.
Yep, I remembered.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
Emily, how long have you lived in this apartment?
I moved out of my parents' house October 1st. I moved into an apartment October 1st.
And that was 2021?
Yes.
So you've been here a little bit over a year?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what technology supports do you think help you live independently?
Well, I take care of my pets. I take care of my tortoise. I take care of Sophia. I take care of Nemo Dory. I take care of Angel. I take care of myself. I take down the garbage and recycle with staff. I go downstairs all by myself and go get mail. And I take care of my sink on my own, clean it, and I clean my own bathroom.
Very nice.
And I make my own dinner and lunch. And I make my lunch for work.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And is that your tortoise?
Yes,
right there?
Sophia, yes. I love
Okay,
her.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then what kind of technology do you use? Do you use any sort of, do you have a phone? Do you have,
I do have a phone, yes. Apple phone.
you have
I
a
use it
phone?
for music.
Perfect.
I use my headphones for music too.
And what kinds of technology?
I love to work on Legos too.
Do you?
Yes!
Awesome.
They're right here. Guess what they call? You're gonna laugh. Doggy daycare.
Really? Aw, I love that.
They're right here. Doggy daycare. Oh my god.
Very cool.
I got that for Christmas. I did. It's right here. Doggy
You can
daycare.
go ahead and hold it up in front of the camera.
Oh,
if
it's
you
right
want.
here. See, I'm reading it too. Doggy
Awesome.
daycare. I know what it
Very
is
cool.
because I'm still working on it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Emily, and what sorts of other technology do you use to help you live independently? So, what sorts of technology devices do you think help
I
you?
can have what to live on my own.
Yep, like,
Work on my volume chart. Volume.
so do you use Alexa to help you live independently?
Yes.
Okay.
I do, but I said I'm working on my volume. I will go to clean my house. I will go to vacuum. And I will go to take care of my pets.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those are some of the things those are some of your personal outcomes, is that right? Okay. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Sometimes I clean my fridge too.
very nice. So let's talk about what you use Alexa for. Your Alexa, the Echo Dot?
Yeah, what I use Alexa for is my grocery list, my shopping list.
Okay. And I'm gonna just
Yeah, I love Alexa.
Yeah?
It's right there. It's right here.
okay. And then what about the security? Do you use any sort of
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
The camera's right there. There's cameras on the little ones up there. The big one's right there.
Okay, and
Screen.
we'll do a short little walkthrough that we can show those different technology devices if you want to. But basically, those are just extra things that keep you safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, and what staffing supports do you use to help you live independently?
I gotta feed Sophia. I have to go to work tomorrow and I have to get her stuff cooked.
Okay.
Food and stuff in the microwave.
Can,
All right, thank you. We're all available for questions, and I hope this just highlights, there's not one size fits all. It's not a group home or this. There's so many things in between and so many great things coming down the line to fit your child's needs. So come find us and talk to us. Thank you. Oh, more questions, okay. Stop.
Thank you, that was,
Okay.
thank you, that was very helpful. And my question is for Rob, and about the support in the community. Do you cluster the supports for the 5 people with PW? Or does everybody have their own separate support?
Everyone has their own separate support.
Do the people with PW live in one area?
No, they're just sprinkled throughout the little, I mean, it's not a big community. You can see the picture that's happening. So, but they're not connected anymore.
What is the cost of the house? You need to use the mic because they're filming it, and they won't be able to hear the questions, that's why.
What is the cost of the independent housing?
Azul now?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's 2 or 3 bedrooms. I think the 2 bedrooms run for a little over 400,000. And then 3 bedrooms, high flowing or something to that effect. I don't know, Mike, either, so we can just.
No, my next question is for Scott, right? As far as where are you, do you have property already, or where are you in this? Because to me, I'm all in, but but I would like to know. My son's 18 and just kind of.
So as I mentioned, we are just cracking out of the egg. We do not have property yet. We're actively looking for that, but we were kind of holding off, quite honestly, because we had to get our 501c3 designation, which we got now. Okay, we didn't want to go buy property and then have to transfer and do all that kind of good stuff. So we got that now. We do have the funding already for the property, but we've got to find the ideal piece. My thinking is that we would want to be on the south side of the land, the Newton, Fayetteville area. Reason being is you can get larger tracts down there for less money than the north side, and 2, it's close to the airport. So if we were able to become the first class kind of place that I want to be, then it could be that the airport is important to us, particularly if that medical university partnership works out really, really well, then it could be. So we'd like to be there. It doesn't have to be, honestly, truly. I would put this in Texas if we want the best place that we could find is Texas. I don't really know that I care about that, but I happen to live there, and that's all there is. And just, I'll note, we're about 1/3 of the way through our funding campaign. We have a long way to go. That means we're 2/3 away from our goal. But we are a full third, and we've only been after it for a little less than a year. And the total budget looks like about $30 million.
What do you think it's going to cost on a monthly or annual basis for a resident?
The goal of this.
His question was, sorry, because they're recording, they can't hear it.
Yeah, what will it cost on a monthly basis to a resident? The goal is, and I got this from the Champions place that I referenced a bit ago, about, and don't quote me on this, but $1,000, $1,500 a month. Okay, we want it to, it can't be free. Free is bad. But we want families to be involved, and we want as many as possible to be involved. And so we think that's pretty affordable to a lot, maybe not every single family, but it will have to have waivers and Social Security benefits to supplement, because you can't make it on the rent. I don't know. Usually very well.
So on the simple side, it's kind of like I live in a place that has an HOA and it takes care of certain things. You know, for a monthly fee, you purchase a place and then you have the HOA fees, and then you're responsible for the rest on your own. So it's kind of similar to that. Kind of sounds like it. I don't know what you...
There's no acquiring of a home, excuse me, a home or an apartment here. It's just a rental situation. So there would be no HOA. That's all taken care of. Mhm.
So that's the only difference then?
That is the main difference between what Luna Azul is versus what we're doing. You actually acquire out there. This is just a rental thing.
There's actually some interesting thought about that, right? So, from my perspective, I own my daughter's place.
Right.
I will bequeath it to her. She will never be kicked out of it,
Right.
no matter what happens to anything else going on. So there's a positive to that, but obviously the big negative is it takes a lot of capital up front.
Right.
Now, hopefully I make money on that over time, but that's no guarantee, and you got to have the funding to start it with. So there's some interesting ownership versus renting in
Right.
general is a big question. That's true for these situations.
Right, we have friends in Alaska that have a similar issue where a thing like that, they own it as a family. Oh. In Alaska, we have friends who own a place where their daughter stays, and they have the caregivers come in to her, and then they can fill in. I know it's your friend. It's my son's friend. So, yeah. So that's why we know a little bit about something like that, but we don't know how to tap into it, with the funding that we have available, which is the problem.
That is the big problem.
Okay.
That's why multiple options exist for exactly that reason.
Right.
These different solutions based on individual kid and family needs.
Okay.
We have a question over here. This is to any of you. I heard different models of supported living, but I'm going to be on the hunt in my state and was wondering maybe, well, my son needs full support, so not partial, but what are some red flags to look for when I'm trying to go in there and interview? I mean, I'm talking the basics of going and searching, so I'm needing full support. So I want to walk in there and not have it glossed over.
Yeah, so, you want to cover, Lynn?
No.
Yep. Sorry. So, I think there's a lot of different ways to get support for that. So I would definitely contact the PWSA, and there's information about adult living, adult housing, there's guides for residential, lots of information there. I think if you start there and then follow up and even talk to them if you want to get exactly that kind of information. And they might even be able to help if they know of anything in that state and things of that nature. So I think that's what the association's for, and so I'd use that resources. And
First start with your social worker, right? They can set up some tours. And if you call us at PWSA USA, we can help you with what questions to ask, what to look for in a good provider. Yep.
My question is for Scott. What is the age that you're looking for? I actually live in the Noonan area.
Do you?
Yes. And my son is 20 right now. So I am I'm in that area where I'm like searching, and you're right, Georgia has nothing. Georgia has nothing. So I think your plan is awesome. If you need help, I want to help.
We will definitely we will no question need help. I'll tell you that because my goal here for me personally is to pull this thing together, get it funded, get it built, and then turn it over to some really smart people that know a lot more about what do we do with it day to day now?
Right.
How do we build programs? How do we make sure that this care is there and this is that there? I wanted to build it. I'm not the guy to run it. I'm the guy to build it and then say, here it is. Now make something great out of it. But to answer your question is, I think you're probably looking at least 18 and up for residents.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
We have 1 minute left, so.
Timeline is when we raise the money, we're going. But I would like to do that within the next 2 years or so.
My question is, what is the level of difficulty when it comes to using the waivers or Medicaid for out of state?
Really
Yeah.
hard. Almost impossible.
Yeah.
It is difficult because out-of-state providers, so if I live in Minnesota, we take somebody from, say, Colorado, we need to become a Medicaid provider for the state of Colorado. So sometimes the billing is a lot different, sometimes their requirements are different. for licensing, for everything else. It's different. So you do have to ask up front, do you take out-of-state placement? It's much easier. I don't know where you're from, but I don't think you have a lot of services in your area. It's very difficult. And I think that's why a lot of folks are trying to do their own thing, open up their own homes, do these innovative type of services. But that's where your social worker is really a key person. Yeah.
Anybody else have one more question?
Are you a Medicaid provider for the state of Colorado?
Yes.
What was the question?
We sure are. Yeah.
What was this question?
Is AME a Medicaid provider for the state of Colorado?
Okay, well, thank you all very much.